Alex Bowman will be out this weekend at Phoenix. Cleus McFarland has a new partnership with RCR. And let's take a look at my power rankings after COTA. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Talkin NASCAR. I'm your host, Andrew. Hope you had a great week to open up the month of March. It's kind of crazy now. We're in the month of March, the third month of 2026 already. Insane how fast time can fly by. So we got a lot to cover here in this episode. We have Phoenix race weekend coming up with the Desert Double with IndyCar and NASCAR sharing the same weekend in Avondale, Arizona at the Phoenix Raceway. I'm recording this on Saturday night, so you'll probably see this on Sunday morning. But earlier today, we had the IndyCar, the NTT IndyCar Series take the track. Joseph Newgarden picked up the victory. We also had the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series with Justin Allgaier picking up the victory in overtime. So there will be an episode about that coming up very, very soon. But an incredible race weekend that I'll be covering very, very soon, probably in a couple days later on. But we still have got a lot of stuff to cover from this past week to catch you all up before we get to the Cup Series race weekend tomorrow at Phoenix. But probably by the time you're listening to this episode, later today on Sunday for the Cup Series race at Phoenix. So with that being said, we got power rankings coming up in this episode. We have some news stories from this past week that we got to talk about. We have some penalties to announce from Circuit of the Americas. We have some drivers beefing with each other that we have to talk about as well. Driver substitutions that we have to talk about. We got a lot to talk about here, but we have to start by talking about the Craftsman Truck Series in St. Petersburg, the first ever Truck Series street circuit race in the history of the Craftsman Truck Series. So a very monumental occasion. Of course, the Truck Series sharing the date with the IndyCar Series to open up their season, their first round of the season. But even before the trucks could even hit the track, of course, whenever NASCAR tries to go to a new venue anywhere in the world, weather gets in the way. And once again, qualifying was canceled in NASCAR due to weather. So the Truck Series qualifying was canceled at St. Petersburg due to weather. So that would mean that Connor Mozak, who would be taking over the 7 truck this weekend, or that last weekend, would be starting on pole with Gio Ruggiero on his outside because Spire Motorsports and the 7 truck had Kyle Busch win the week prior at Atlanta. And then Connor Mozek's other part-time teammate of James Hinchcliffe, former IndyCar driver, now current broadcaster in the Fox booth for the IndyCar Series, would also be driving in the field. He would be starting in 3rd. Some other big names like Dario Franchitti was also in the field for this race, driving the number 1 truck for Tricon Garage. Adam Andretti would also be behind the wheel of another Tricon truck in the number 5. Colin Braun in the number 25 for Calling will be starting in 16th, making his return to NASCAR, I believe, after 16 years, I'm pretty sure. So, been a little while for uh, Colin Brown. And then Jackson Lee driving for Team Rayum in the number 22 truck, starting in 24th. Carter Fartuk in the 2 truck for Team Rayum as well, making his Craftsman Truck Series debut, I'm pretty sure. And then Ben Meyer for Nice Motorsports in the 4 truck. So, several open wheel racers making their Craftsman Truck Series and NASCAR debuts in St. Petersburg. But right off the bat, it was a glorious day, bright and sunny in St. Petersburg, Florida. It was really cool. It's a really cool track for those of you who haven't ever seen a race or even kind of watched a race on TV of St. Petersburg. It's a really cool track, really nice sweeping street circuit that actually uses a runway of an airport as its front straightaway, which I was kind of shocked to hear about, but it was really cool to see. I thought that was a really cool touch as well, right on the water. Beautiful scenery, beautiful day, really good environment for some truck series, some trucks taking to the streets of St. Petersburg. It was a very clean race overall, I will say. Good hard racing, no intentional wrecking, which is something that we always have to worry about when we watch a Craftsman Truck Series race or are talking about it on this show, but we didn't really have that. Of course, we had some cautions for single truck spins. I know Tanner Gray hit the wall very hard. Justin Haley on lap three spun from 13th, couldn't get his truck refired. They had to throw a caution for that. There were some other cautions for some other uh, spins as well. So, and truck stalling. So, but overall, there weren't too many big incidents, and that was something that we were all kind of concerned about heading to a narrow street course like St. Petersburg, because we have no idea how these young, inexperienced Truck Series drivers are going to drive and how their race etiquette is going to be. But I truly think that in this race, the presence of these veterans from other open wheel sports like James Hinchcliffe, like Dario Franchitti, and others, that really helped out keep these truckers in line, which was something we really was really cool to see. Regardless, again, very clean race. Ben Rhodes would win stage one, beating Connor Mozak. Landon Lewis making his, I believe, second Truck Series start of the season, would finish in third as well. Chandler Smith in fourth, continuing to build on his very prominent season. Gio Ruggiero in fifth, Dario Franchitti in sixth, Lane Riggs in seventh, Tyler Ankrum in eighth, Kane Honeycutt in ninth, and Andres Perez would round out the top 10 for stage one. Stage two, more of the same, not very many bad incidents. Adam Andretti had a big spin, I believe, in turn eight when he was trying to battle some other drivers for 12th. Some pretty big damage to the back end of his truck. Had to go a couple laps down to get that damage repaired, but regardless, he would be able to continue. Again, not very many wrecks in this race overall. Stage two would be won by Lane Riggs, picking up his first stage win of the season, followed by his teammate of Chandler Smith. Then Landon Lewis, still up inside the top 10. A really good day shaping up for him in third. Ty Majeski had worked his way forward up into fourth. Ben Rhodes in fifth. Gio Ruggiero, Tyler Ankrum, Dario Franchitti, Grant Enfinger, and Andres Perez would round out the top 10 in stage two. Now we got to jump ahead a little bit further into this race. Come to lap 62, we have another restart after a caution for Derek Wright getting stalled on track in turn 9 with an issue. So we continue on to a restart. Lane Riggs leading the way from the inside with Majeski on his outside. Heading into turn 2, Ty Majeski overshoots it, or excuse me, heading into turn 3, coming to lap 63. Ty Majeski overshoots turn 13 and goes wide off into the grass. Goes from first to sixth after he clears Lane Riggs on the outside in turn 2 and was priming to take control of this race. However, that mistake would be crucial for Ty Majeski as Lane Riggs would be able to continue get back to the lead. And by lap 72, coming to only 9 laps to go in this race, Lane Riggs had really gotten a big lead out on Ben Rhodes in second place. However, both Ben Rhodes and Ty Majeski, who again Majeski went wide and was in sixth place, battled all the way back up into third place. And by the final 2 laps, Lane Riggs, Ben Rhodes, and Ty Majeski had all made it very, very close. Lap 78, only 1.2 seconds were separating these two drivers. It was very, very close. Ben Rhodes and Ty Majeski were keeping Lane Riggs honest at the end of this race. However, Lane Riggs would be able to hold on, beating Majeski, who got past his teammate of Ben Rhodes. Majeski ended up going wide again in turn 13, the final corner, to try to catch Lane Riggs, but it would not be enough. Lane Riggs would come off of turn 13 and pick up the first race victory in St. Petersburg for the Craftsman Truck Series. Congratulations to Lane Riggs. After a pretty rough start to the season for him, he gets a much needed victory in St. Petersburg, and that is one way, a heck of a way to get the momentum going back in your favor. So congratulations to Lane Riggs. Again, a really good race overall by the Craftsman Truck Series in St. Petersburg. Majeski and Rhodes would be in second and third. Chandler Smith, Lane Riggs' teammate, would end up in fourth. Kane Honeycutt in fifth. Landon Lewis and Andres Perez, two Nice Motorsports teammates, in sixth and seventh. Daniel Hemrick in eighth. Colin Braun in the number 25 truck for Ram and Calling would finished in ninth. I believe giving that truck its first top 10 of the season. James Hinchcliffe in 10th. Ben Meyer in 11th. Justin Haley 12th. Connor Mozak, who started from the pole, another road course ace, in 13th. Cole Butcher in 14th, or and then Christian Eckes would round out the top 15. Tyler Reif for Nice Motorsports as well would pick up a 16th place finish. He was shaping up to have a really good day as well in St. Petersburg. So some other good finishes. Adam Andretti, another notable name, finished in 23rd. Dario Franchitti ended up going a lap down, finishing in 27th. I believe he had to pit with damage to his truck, so he ended up in 27th. Mini Terrell, and for Collins' number 14 truck ended up in 28th, 3 laps down. Jackson Lee, 5 laps down, another big name entering the field this weekend. Carter Fartok in 21. But besides that, those are all the big names and the finishers from St. Petersburg in the Craftsman Truck Series. And after seeing this race, I am really hoping now that NASCAR is looking to maybe continue to have this race on the schedule going forward. Because after this one, they show me that they have the maturity that is at least improving maturity that can, keep them and or continue to have these opportunities for them. I thought it was a really clean race. Weren't many lapses in self-control for any of these Truck Series drivers. So I thought this was a really good race overall, and I really do hope that NASCAR will continue to have this race on the schedule going forward. I think it's a really good idea moving forward for the Truck Series. Get them on a street course in a little bit of a bigger market, a bigger track, a bigger event. I think it would be really good for the Truck Series to keep it on there. So I was really impressed by it. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this race, and we'll see what NASCAR decides to do with this race going forward on the 2027 schedule. But there you go. There's a little recap from the Craftsman Truck Series race in St. Petersburg, the inaugural Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Now, meanwhile, shifting gears over to the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race that was happening in Austin, Texas at Circuit of the Americas that same day. It was a little bit of a different story, let's just say that. I mean, there weren't nearly as many, like, big name road course racers in the field besides Shane Van Gisbergen and Connor Zilisch if you just, want to go for the sake of road course aces in the NASCAR world. But besides that, that was one major difference. And the racecraft in this race was not nearly as good, I would say, at least compared to the Craftsman Truck Series, which is kind of wild to say. I mean, just on lap one, William Sawalich basically plowed straight into the back of Austin Green in turn one on lap one. First turn, William Sawalich just plowed straight in the back of Austin Green. Got some pretty big damage as well. But after the initial chaos, things did start to get better in stage one, and immediately it looked like it was going to be a junior motorsports battle between Shane Van Gisbergen and Connor Zilisch, two part-time drivers who are full-time in the Cup Series, coming back down to drive in the O'Reilly Series. It looked like it was going to be a battle between those two, at least early on in this race. But even still, there was some good battles all across the racetrack. I mean, Sam Mayer and Justin Allgaier had a really good battle for fourth on lap 17. Brent Crew, and overall, it was a really tight battle. There's good racing overall, at least towards the end of the stage when things started to settle down. But anyway, SVG and Connor Zilisch would pit from the top spots, and that would mean Austin Hill would take the lead after lap 18 and would end up taking the victory in stage one, followed by Sam Mayer, Justin Allgaier, Brandon Jones, Jesse Love, Carson Kvapil driving the number 91 for DGM Racing in his mixture of a full-time schedule. Corey Day, the rookie, would also finish in 7th. Austin Green in 8th. Raja Karuth in 9th. And then SVG would round out the top 10. Then we get another pretty chaotic restart to begin stage 2 on lap 25. SVG leading the way, Connor Zilisch on the outside. Zilisch and SVG battled hard. Sammy Smith ended up getting himself in the conversation, making it 4 wide. And then all of a sudden, Brent Cruz, the 17-year-old, driving the number 19 car in his first NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series start for Joe Gibbs Racing, makes it 4 wide and immediately comes through and takes the lead to lead his first laps in his first race of NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series competition, becoming the first driver since Casey Atwood at Nashville Fairgrounds in 1998 to become the first driver since then to be under the age of 18 and lead in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. So history made already with Brent Cruz as his trailblazing continues. But overall, stage 2 was more or less the same as stage 1. We did have a bit of an incident when Sheldon Creed spun by Brent Cruz in turn 16. Creed ended up dropping all the way down to 14th from 3rd, so that was tough luck for Sheldon Creed coming off his first win of his NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series career in Atlanta. Then on lap 35, we get our next caution. I believe our only second caution for cause in this race. It would be for Baldagar Laguzamon spinning into the turn one tire barrier. I wouldn't say spinning at that point. He essentially just lost his brakes, it looks like, and he went sliding off into the gravel. Hard impact into that turn one tire barrier. Massive impact for him. Glad to see Baltazar climbing out of the car okay, giving the thumbs up to the crowd. We get back going on our restart. Carson Gavapel leading the way. Brandon Jones also up at the front. Sam Mayer, Justin Allgaier also up there as well after battling some mechanical issues with his steering. But meanwhile, SVG is also up there in the conversation. And it wasn't long until SVG would be looking to get past Carson Kvapil until we get a pretty big crash in turn 20 in 15th place. Pretty big crash. Nick Sanchez and Dean Thompson both will be involved in it. And Nick Sanchez on the radio was not happy with Dean Thompson after that crash. And that was actually coming to the end of stage 2, and Sam Mayer would pick up the stage win, followed by Justin Allgaier, Carson Gavapil in 3rd, Jesse Love in 4th, Shane Van Gisbergen in 5th after failing to pass Carson Gavapil for 3rd, Austin Hill in 6th, Sammy Smith in 7th, Brandon Jones in 8th, Ross Chastain in 9th, and then Ryan Sieg would round out the top 10 in stage 2. And then to restart stage 3, Sam Mayer would lead the way from the inside with Jesse Love on his outside. And it was a good hard battle all the way until the end of the lap, until Jesse Love tried to make a pass under Sam Mayer in turn 16. That allowed SVG to get under both of them and take the lead in turn 18. And that gave SVG control of the race back to him. Meanwhile, Mayer and Love would fall back into second and third. But we would continue to see really good hard racing from the top drivers later on in stage 3 overall. It was really between SVG, Jesse Love, and Sam Mayer. Good racing for second through fourth. It was really good racing overall. Then we get a caution a couple laps later, lap 57 for Sage Karam, who had a broken left front suspension. That would have to bring out the third caution for cause on today's race. Get back to a racing. Nick Sanchez, who decided to stay out on the pit cycle, decided to lead the way from the inside with Allgaier on the outside. Sam Mayer made it 4 wide going into turn 1, but went a little bit wide on the restart, to say the least. So that would mean SVG, who restarted in 6th on that initial start, would be able to get back up the inside of all those drivers and would take the lead once again. Austin Hill would get up into 2nd, Sam Mayer to 3rd, and Sammy Smith now would get up into 4th. In lap 62, 1 lap later, Harrison Burton would spin in turn 2 after contact. Taylor Gray got into him. Jeremy Clements and Ryan Ellis also got collected, trying to avoid it. That would have be pretty much the biggest incident of today's race, or of that race, I should say. I can't say today because it wasn't, but that would be probably the biggest event of the race, like crash wise. But they were all able to continue, no caution. Sam Mayer, Raja Caruth, they all actually went into the tire barrier in that same turn, in turn 6A, excuse me. So they also got a little bit of damage in that one as well, but everyone was able to continue, no cautions. And then lap 63, things got really spicy between Connor Zilic and Corey Day. Connor Zilic would get spun in the S's while battling with Corey Day, a rookie for Hendrick Motorsports, in 5th, and that would mean Connor Zilic would plummet down the order just a little bit. Meanwhile, SVG had completely broken away from everyone, leading by over a second over Austin Hill. Jesse Love would also make more contact, now with Corey Day, who had moved up into 4th. But meanwhile, SVG had completely checked out and would take the win over Austin Hill, making it 10 straight NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series victories for Junior Motorsports in the O'Reilly Series. So SVG makes history for the team, or I shouldn't say makes history, but sets a really big mark for the team with 10 in a row on road courses for junior motorsports. So congratulations to SVG on the victory in Circuit of the Americas. Taking a look at the top finishers real quick. SVG and Austin Hill, of course, 1-2. Sammy Smith and Jesse Love in third and fourth. Corey Day had worked himself up into fifth. Brent Cruz in his debut for Joe Gibbs Racing in the number 19 car in the O'Reilly Series in sixth. William Sawalch, after getting some damage on that initial start, would end up in seventh. Justin Allgaier, after battling some steering issues and difficulties all day long, would end up in eighth. Ross Chastain in ninth. Brendan Poole. How about Brendan Poole getting up inside the top 10 for Alpha Prime Racing in 10th? Sheldon Creed, Taylor Gray, Alex LeBay, Sam Mayer, and Brendan Jones would all round out the top 15. Meanwhile, guys like Carson Gavopol and Connor Zilich were all outside of the top 15. Connor Zilich, who led from the pole of this race, that last spin at the end caused by that battle with Corey Day would end up being a pretty major event for him. And Connor Zilich after that incident, was livid on the radio with Corey Day after that. So definitely not a good look for Corey Day. And something that was referenced to me actually is that this is something that Corey Day's been doing now all season. We've seen Corey Day now, I believe, in all three NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series races, be involved in one of the major wrecks in this race, or at least in a wreck with another driver. I mean, at Daytona, Corey Day gave a bit of a bad push, I believe, to Patrick Storpoli, caused him to spin out. I believe at Atlanta, Corey Day gave another bad push, another drafting track, and caused another pretty big incident. And then here now at Circuit of the Americas, Corey Day, once again makes contact, battling too hard with Connor Zilich, cost Zilich a really good shot at the victory. So is that something that we should be worried about now with Corey Day? It's something that people are not too happy about, and we saw him get into it with Jesse Love at the end of this race. So Corey Day making himself no friends really out there on track for Hendrick Motorsports in their, I believe, full-time debut in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. So yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on though, because Corey Day now run-ins in 3 straight races to open up your rookie season. I'm no NASCAR driver, but I don't think that's really the way you want to go. Now let's actually move on to some news in NASCAR from this past week, starting with actually some news from the Circuit of the Americas race weekend. Two of Ross Chastain's pit crew members, rear tire changer Kenneth Pozega and jackman Josh Appleby, will be no longer, have been suspended for the next couple of races on the number one car for Ross Chastain's team after the right rear wheel detached from the car on lap 75 at Circuit of the Americas last Sunday. So it will be a 2-race suspension for both those team members. Moving on over to another story, talking about Kyle Busch. It was announced that Kyle Busch and the life insurance company Pacific Life had come to a settlement of their $8.5 million lawsuit. Apparently, both Kyle Busch and his wife, Samantha, reached an out-of-court settlement with Pacific Life, according to a February 26th court filing. So, glad to see another lawsuit done for Kyle Busch. I know it was probably a stressful thing for him, so glad to see that is over it with for him. Moving on over to another story on the Cup Series side of things, talking about Alex Bowman. It was announced that he will not be driving the number 48 car for Hendrick Motorsports this weekend at Phoenix, and instead Anthony Alfredo will be stepping in to fill in for Bowman this weekend, as Alex Bowman has been diagnosed with vertigo. Remember last weekend at Circuit of the Americas, Alex Bowman had to step out of the number 48 car and was relieved by Myatt Snyder, who drove the number 48 car to the end of that race at Circuit of the Americas. So Anthony Alfredo will be stepping into that seat this weekend at Phoenix in relief of Alex Bowman. And it does sound like that Bowman is expected to return to the car in the near future. It will hopefully not be a long absence. Hendrick Motorsports president Jeff Andrews said that he has no idea how Alex Bowman was diagnosed with it, what caused him to be diagnosed with vertigo, but he did say that Alex Bowman will have his seat open to him as soon as he is ready. So taking him as much time as he needs to recover from this as he needs. He said, quote, "We'll support him however long this takes, and that seat will be ready for him when he's ready to get back in that car." So yeah, this is definitely tough to hear if you're an Alex Bowman fan, and this is got to be playing on Alex Bowman's mind. He's entering a contract year with Hendrick Motorsports. I know he has a good relationship with his sponsor of Ally Financials, but I mean, it's got to be in the back of Alex's head that, an injury is the last thing he wanted. He wants to, be out there on track and competing with the drivers. Right now, he's in a terrible hole when it comes to points. He's last among full-time drivers in the NASCAR Cup Series. It's just we have no idea how long this vertigo diagnosis is going to keep him out of that car. And no matter what, it's going to be a very uphill battle for Alex Bowman to get back even into chase contention. It's going to be very, very difficult for him to get into that conversation. Not to mention, he's got to show a lot if he wants to keep his ride with Hendrick Motorsports. Again, contract year and an injury is definitely not helping him. He has an injury history of having concussions and neck issues. So I got to be thinking now, all of this has probably got to be connected. I mean, the vertigo symptoms, dizziness, things like that, it's all gotta be related, like the concussions, the neck injuries. I mean, at this point, I don't know what else you can do if you're Alex Bowman. I'm not saying that Alex Bowman has to retire, but we've gotten to a point now where we gotta be saying that, hey, the injuries to Alex Bowman, A, are concerning for his health, and B, they gotta just be taking a toll on him. Like, he's not the same driver as he was back in 2022, so we got to be saying now, like, since those injuries, Alex Bowman is not the same driver, and he may never get back to that form, and he may not be a Hendrick Motorsports caliber driver anymore. And that's a sad reality that Bowman might have to face. You can prove me wrong 100%, but he just hasn't been able to bounce back at all from these injuries. I know he won Chicago in 2024, but that was a rain shortened race. There was a lot of weird scenarios out there. Don't get me wrong, Bowman's a good driver, but he hasn't shown me enough to say that he is definitely a Hendrick Motorsports driver moving forward. And this latest injury is just another reason that I can add on to that. So I'm hoping I'm wrong. I know Alex is a good guy, but at this point, Alex Bowman's seat in that number 48 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports could not be any more on fire, and I would not be surprised if Alex Bowman at the end of this season is no longer driving for the team. There's several other factors that could go into that, but at this point in the season, this is worst case scenario for Alex Bowman, and he's gonna have to do a lot to prove to Rick Hendrick, Jeff Gordon, that he can still be a driver for Hendrick Motorsports in 2027. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping the best for Alex Bowman, his family, that this diagnosis of vertigo will be quick to recover from, and we can see Alex Bowman back in the car very, very soon. Now we got to move on to another story. Now on to the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. Cleus McFarland, otherwise known as Garrett Mitchell, announced that he will be making his NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts series debut at Rockingham later this season with Richard Childress Racing. Furthermore, Cleus McFarland, who went on Kevin Harvick's podcast, I believe it was Kevin Harvick, the Speed podcast that Kevin Harvick is now hosting, Cleus McFarland announced that his contract that he has with RCR is at least 2 races a season for 2 years with RCR in that number 33 car, which is incredible to hear. Just a little background on Cleus McFarland. He's quickly really entered into the world of NASCAR. He's made some ARCA Menard Series starts over the past couple seasons with Rhett Jones Racing in the number 30 car. He just made his Craftsman Truck Series debut at Daytona with Nice Motorsports in the number 4 truck. Unfortunately, he wrecked out early in that race, just overstepped the boundaries of that truck. But now he's going to be making his NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series debut at the Rockingham Speedway in a couple of weeks. So this is definitely moving very, very quickly if you are Cletus McFarland and everyone else in the NASCAR community. I mean, I want to just talk about Cletus real quick, and I'm going to just say that it's a great opportunity for Cletus, and I mean, I don't really know the purpose behind Cletus McFarland really pushing for this. I imagine it's a more of a publicity thing. I'm gonna be honest, because I know Cletus. I mean, on YouTube and social media, he drives a lot of crazy stuff and does a lot of crazy stunts. But I mean, both he and RCR got to be looking at this and saying like it's a good publicity thing. I'm a big name, RCR. It's a big brand in the world of racing. It's a good way to grow both brands. So, I mean, it's got to be one of those things. Clea's probably bringing some big brand on board with him over his couple of starts. So that's got to be something that's included in this. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a huge opportunity for Cletus, and I'm very very happy for him. But this is definitely going to be calling into question, and there's going to be a lot of people, and there already is a lot of people that are questioning this opportunity that Cletus is getting. I mean, because Cletus McFarland, again, he wrecked out in his Craftsman Truck Series debut only a couple laps in just because of his inexperience and overstepping the boundaries of that truck. And what's not to say that Cletus McFarland can't do that again at Rockingham? Like, that's my main issue with it. Like, I'm all for like having Cletus race, but I feel like for all this just to come together in such a short amount of time, I feel like it's a little rushed, and I feel like it's not gonna be good. We've already had issues in NASCAR with driver approvals. We just had Catherine Legg and that whole discussion last year. We just had a whole bunch of issues with Natalie Decker in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series after her big crash at Daytona under caution, and we already now are gonna be having another one with Cleus McFarland in the number 33 car for RCR. So I can't imagine that going well. There's gonna be some arguing that Cletus is just he's all a big name and he's not actually there to race. He's just there to have fun and he's gonna ruin everything. There's gonna be those kind of people out there. And I'm gonna be honest that I'm not gonna be one of those people. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna be on the side of Cletus McFarland can surprise me, but I'm not entirely optimistic that Cletus McFarland will be the best race car driver out there at Rockingham. And what's not to say he'll be able to qualify into that race? Because I'm not sure that Cletus McFarland A has a guaranteed spot in that race, and B can actually make it into that race. So that's something that I'm keeping an eye out for as this continues to go on. But with this also being a multi-year thing for 2 years, it also does give Cletus the opportunity to maybe improve a little bit, but it still doesn't give me a whole lot of optimism for Cletus McFarland. So all I can ask from Cletus at that point is that A, he has fun going out there and doing that, and B, he just doesn't get in the way and cause issues. If he's off the pace, he's not keeping up with everybody, he just pulls up out of the preferred groove, lets everyone else go by, runs his own race, doesn't cause a big issue. Like that's at worst, that's how I want it to be for Cletus. Like he has an off day on track. He isn't really up there competing for the lead, it's just he's there, riding around having fun and, enjoying the experience. And, he's trying to do all this probably for Greg Biffle. He's got that whole be like the Biff uh, kind of campaign that he's on right now. He was close friends with Greg Biffle, and Greg Biffle obviously passed away very, very recently. So this is all probably playing into Cleus McFarland's mind right now. So, but if that's the worst thing for Cleus that he can do, like it still could be a success, and you can just say that at that point, only the haters can only say that like, oh, just Cletus is slow, and he's not gonna do much out on track. He's gonna be having fun. Like, yeah, so what? I mean, you're gonna have guys like Joey Gase and BJ McLeod who are going out there sometimes racing on Sundays, just riding around, having fun, enjoying racing. I mean, who's to say that Cleus can't do that? Who's to say he can't do that at that point? But if he does cause issues, like he gets in the way, causes a crash, like then it's truly going to be one heck of a time for NASCAR to come up with some approval standard going forward in every single of their NASCAR divisions, Cup Series, O'Reilly Series, Truck Series, maybe ARCA, but maybe not so much. Well, that the jury's still out on the ARCA Menard series in my opinion. So, but yeah, this will definitely cause a stir in the industry. Cleus McFarland's debut at Rockingham. Let me know what you think about Cleus McFarland's announcement of his debut coming up at Rockingham in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series for Richard Childress Racing. we'll have to stay tuned on more for more on that story going forward. But now it is time to move on to my NASCAR Cup Series Power Rankings Post COTA edition. Let's see where your favorite driver wound up in my top 10. Starting off here with a couple honorable mentions. First, Chris Buescher. I know Buescher didn't really have the finish you would like to see from him, but he still got some good stage points here and 7 stage points in this race. However, a late spin later on in the race derailed his finish, but I do like Chris Buescher though. He's smooth, calm, and consistent. However, he just needs to lead more laps, get more points, be up front more, and he just hasn't done that in this season so far. So Chris Buescher, I have him as an honorable mention. I also have Carson Hocevar. Similar thing for Hocevar. Didn't really get the finish you would like to see from him. He ended up in 31st after spinning, coming to the final lap. Did get some stage points, but it just wasn't enough for me to continue having Hocevar in my top 10, because as good as Hocevar is, he's just inconsistent, and some of these other guys, they've had better days more consistently, and heading to Phoenix, I feel a little bit more confident in them compared to Carson Hocevar moving forward. So Hocevar, though, he's on the cusp of getting back inside the top 10, so I have him as an honorable mention. And then finally, Shane Van Gisbergen was so close to winning at Circuit of the Americas. He finished second, also had a really good race at Atlanta as well, finished in 6th there, so back-to-back top 10s for SVG in 2 races. I'm liking what I'm seeing from him. However, heading to another short track at Phoenix, I just can't put him inside my top 10. However, like Hocevar, he's right on the cusp of that number 10 position. So SVG, Hocevar, and Buescher, all honorable mentions this week. Starting out at number 10, I have Chase Briscoe. It was a bit of an odd day for Chase Briscoe. I mean, he didn't get very many stage points. He chose to flip the stages to contend for the victory, which ended up being a kind of going to crap because he had an engine issue, I'm pretty sure, or some kind of mechanical issue in that race. But he's coming off of Echo Park Speedway where he finished second. And Chase Briscoe showed that he had good speed at COTA. Heading to Phoenix, I mean, it's a little bit of an iffy track for Chase Briscoe and Toyota. However, his teammates of Bell nearly won there in the spring last year, and then Hamlin almost won the championship there last in the fall. So, I mean, maybe it's Briscoe's time to shine at Phoenix. So, I'm holding out for hope on Briscoe. He hasn't shown me a lot to, give me full faith in him and full trust in him. But I like the speed he showed at Circuit of the Americas, coming off a second place at Atlanta. Maybe it's time for Chase Briscoe to get another top 10 and maybe his first win of the season at Phoenix. Maybe it's his time to step up at JGR. So I had Chase Briscoe at number 10, but he's got SVG and Hocevar bearing down his neck. At number 9, I have Christopher Bell. 3rd place finish for Bell. Great bounce back finish after a rough end to his race weekend at Echo Park Speedway. He's steadily been increasing his finishing position. Daytona was rough for him. Circuit of the Echo Park Speedway was looking like he was going to be in contention for the win again until he got wrecked by a certain driver of the 77 car. But then he rebounded to get his first top 10 and top 5 of the season at Circuit of the Americas, finishing in 3rd. Good day for Bell. Got some solid points as well, I'm pretty sure. Yes, he did get some points as well. Good points day for Bell, so I have him at number 9. Hopefully he can keep this momentum up. At number 8, I have Joey Logano, down a couple of spots. Finished 15th. Logano, he's not really a road course racer. I think he did get some pretty solid stage points in stage 1. No, he did not. So it was kind of just an average day for Logano, but we're heading to Phoenix, a track where Penske has done well previously, and hopefully Logano can do just the same once again. So I do have Logano at number 8. At number 7, I have Denny Hamlin. Finished top 10 at Circuit of the Americas. His first top 10 at Circuit of the Americas in his career. Got some stage points as well in this race. So Hamlin, really solid day overall for him. Heading to Phoenix, where he almost won the championship back in November. I just mentioned it. JGR has done very well there. Bell won there in the spring. Hamlin again almost won there in the fall. JGR and Toyota have been doing very, very good at Phoenix lately. Let's see if that success will continue for Denny Hamlin. So I have him at number 7. At number 6, I have Kyle Larson. He finished 6th at Circuit of the Americas as well. Kind of a quiet day from Larson overall, wasn't up front a whole lot, but still got some really good points in this race. What more could he ask for Kyle Larson? He's heading back to the track where he won the championship in the fall. He's done very good in the past there. Hendrick Motorsports as a team has done very well there in the past. So I have Larson at number 6 moving forward. At number 5, I have Bubba Wallace. Finished 11th at Circuit of the Americas. He's down a couple spots once again. I think we're truly seeing where Bubba is going to iron out this season. He's probably going to be a 15th to like 9th place car overall in this race. He did get some stage points. Finished in 6th in stage 2. And so it was a good day for Wallace as well on a track type that he's not known for being entirely good at. So Bubba, good day for him. Finished in 11th. Good result for him. He's off to a pretty solid start to open up the season. So I got Bubba at 5. At number 4, I got Ryan Blaney, finished in 8th at Circuit of the Americas, kind of faded towards the end of that race, but he was the Ford that paced the field for that manufacturer, was the only Ford inside the top 10 in this race. Got some good stage points in this one, 7th in stage 2. He was up front for most of stage 1 until he pitted with the rest of the group to, stick with them, and unfortunately just, faded at the end of this race, Tires wore out. We usually would think that Ryan Blaney on the long runs, would be good. It just wasn't the case this weekend at Circuit of the Americas. But heading to Phoenix, a track that Team Penske has done historically well on in the past. He's won a championship there. I've got a lot of faith still in Ryan Blaney. I trust his ability a whole lot. So I got Blaney at number 4. Number 3, I got William Byron. I know it wasn't a spectacular day for William Byron. Ended up in 13th, wasn't, the best he could have done, but I'm moving him up one spot. I feel like Byron, he's just kind of, pacing himself, I feel like. I mean, we've seen him really burst onto the scene right out the gate most of the time during the season, but kind of fades in the summer. Maybe it's kind of the opposite for William Byron. I mean, heading to Phoenix, he's done very well in there in the past. I have a lot of faith in Byron. He got some stage points, was very solid. He's done fine, William Byron has. It hasn't been amazing. I just still have a lot of faith in him moving forward. He's still looking for that first top 10 of the season, which is a little concerning, and you might be thinking why I'm putting a guy that hasn't had a top 10 at all in 3 races this season at number 3. Just William Byron, he gives me a lot of confidence in him, at least. So right now, though, Byron, I'm not sure where to keep him, and he's kind of confusing right now. I know he could probably be down the order, but Phoenix is a good track for him. Historically, over the last couple of years, he's won there a couple times. So I got faith in William Byron and Hendrick Motorsports, so I have him at number 3. At number 2, I have Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott, smooth, calm, and consistent. That is what Chase Elliott is. He's 3rd in points right now. He finished in 11th at Echo Park Speedway, 4th at Daytona, 7th at Circuit of the Americas, earned some good stage points as well. Good day for Chase Elliott overall in this one. Earned some stage points in stage 1. It's just what he is. He's smooth, calm, and consistent. He was up front. He was battling for the win at one point in this race. It's just, he's not really in contention to win these races. He's a good 10th to 5th place car right now, and that's what's going to get done in the Chase system. He's 3rd in points. What can you say? Chase Elliott, he's doing very Chase Elliott things. So I got Chase Elliott at number 2. But at number 1, I have Tyler Reddick. What is there to say? Heading into Phoenix, he's won 3 straight races to open up the season. 1 Daytona, 1 Echo Park Speedway, and then backed it all up by winning Circuit of the Americas, a road course, his best track, and it's for the same reason why. He was so good. Earned some good stage points in stage 2. He, flipped the stage in stage 1 to set him up for the race win. Even with SVG bearing down on him at the end of this race, it did not faze him. He executed everything to perfection, and he picked up his 3rd straight win to open up the season. Now all Ty Reddick has to do is go and win Phoenix to make it 4 in a row. So we'll see if Reddick can do that going forward. So there you go. That is my top 10 after Circuit of the Americas. Heading into Phoenix, this list will there will be a new list right after Phoenix. So this one will not be lasting very long, but hey, life's short, give it a go, I guess. So anyways, your top 10 after Circuit of the Americas will be Tyler Reddick at number 1, Chase Elliott at 2, William Byron at 3, Ryan Blaney at 4, Bubba Wallace at 5, Kyle Larson at 6, Denny Hamlin at 7, Joey Logano at 8, Christopher Bell at 9, Chase Briscoe 10, with the honorable mentions being SVG, Carson Hocevar, and Chris Buescher. But that'll do it for this episode, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you follow the show. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, follow the show so you never miss another upload. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you are feeling really nice about it, maybe leave the video episode a like. Go check out all the other episodes of Talkin NASCAR from the past year. Got a lot of episodes up there. Also go check out Talkin Sports with Miles and Andrew. I'll have links to the Spotify page and the YouTube channel down in the description below. We got the Phoenix Cup Series race coming up very, very soon. I'll have a recap up for that race as well once it's over with. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in the next episode of anything that I do. So see you in the next one, everyone. Bye.